Hey there, welcome to another Minish Cap guide video. Today I'm going to be going through the final bosses at the end of Darknut Castle in both the any percent and glitchless speedrun. So this is the hardest part of the game. At an optimal level, we do RNG manipulations to make sure that the fights are always exactly what we're expecting, so we can do them as quickly as possible. But very likely it's going to go wrong, and you're going to be going into the fights with some randomness involved that you're not always going to be able to 100% predict what's going to go on, what's going to happen. So these fights really require a lot of experience and practice of getting the feeling of like how these enemies move, and just have that pure confidence in yourself that you will be able to go in there fine and not let the nerves of being at the end of a run get in your way and really screw up these fights. And these fights can go really badly, but in this video I'm basically going to go through them all and just give my advice and all of the experience that I've accumulated over the years speedrunning this. So yeah, let's get going. Right, so we're starting here right after we get the last small key, and we do the save and quit with a cane equipped and the full sword, and start heading over to get the boss key. So normally you would be doing an RNG manipulation. I'm not going to be doing any RNG manipulations and just be getting the enemies to give a nearly random outcomes and see where we go from there. So up in this room we want to be firing a cane 4 times, break all of these pots. That was only 3 times, I can't count. Break all of these, ideally not rolling through. So on the left hand side here there are 4 pots. The first 2 pots have hearts, so bear that in mind. You can grab these, and if you do RNG manipulations to get good Darknut fights, getting those hearts will not affect RNG at all, so they're just freebies, and they only just cost you some time if you're worried about health. We start charging our clones over on the left hand side so that the sword's charged by the time we reach the right. Ideally you want to have the main link at the top here, so that you're not less likely to break your clones on this wall here. If I do this the other way around to demonstrate, you can slide around there and accidentally break your clones, and when you're trying to push this as well, you might accidentally kill your clones there. Also, Link will be in the right position here so that when you finally push this block over, you just kill your clones and roll up here, and then you can grab the boss key. Now it's a bit of a personal choice here. I personally like to equip the boots at this point, but some people will, for safety reasons, will equip the cape. So I feel like the boots are faster, and I don't mind the slight health hazard that you take by using the boots here, so I'm going to be using the boots, but just bear it. I'll point out where you want to have the cape. So you want to boot dash down here or roll through. It's about 3 rolls, and then 2 in the next room, and then you do a roll here. It is faster to roll up to the boss door here, but some manips won't do it. After we open the boss door, we walk up into the Eslo trigger, get past that. Now in this room, there is a chain soldier at the top of this room, so we want to get past him. With the boots, I just boot dash straight through him. So it's a little bit random here, depending on exactly when you do your boot timing, but it's not something you can really predetermine. You'll either get hit by his chain when you dash through, which will do an entire heart of damage, or you'll hit his main body and only take a quarter heart of damage. So we'll give that a try. Yeah, see, we only got... also, I messed up there by not holding up. We dashed through his main body, so it only hurt us by a quarter. If the ball hits you as you dash through, then it will damage you by a half. It's random, and you can't always determine exactly when it's going to be. And very importantly, when you're dashing up in that room, you need to also hold up, so that when you touch the top of the thing... Can I do that again? It's going to be a little bit too awkward for me to go back, but basically, yeah, you will want to be holding up as you're dashing through there. And the other method is with the cape. Let's actually go and do that now as well. We've got time. We'll do this the other way without using boots. We'll have cape instead. So again, come up through here, roll right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here, break these, 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab hearts if we want them. Charge our sword. It's charged when we touch these pillars, these pads. Push the block over to the left. And then roll up here. Yeah, let's have the cape instead. 1, 2, 3 rolls in this room. 1 here. You can do 2 rolls there. That's slightly more optimal. And 1 roll here, and then open the door. Again, we mash through this text box. You do 1 roll and then do a cape glide over the top of him. And that's how you get through that room. That's pretty straightforward. All of that stuff is just really easy stuff that you shouldn't have too much worry with. Now, this is the first hurdle of the end game, which is the Keaton Room. There's a lot of Keatons in here, and their RNG is pretty wild, so you're not always going to be guaranteed to get a good pattern coming through here. So the safest way of going through here is just walking up and then just slashing as you get close to them, not letting them kill your clones at all, and then hit the spot and then move on into the next room. I'll show another strategy for this as well. It's slightly faster. Instead of having to stop at each Keaton and do a sword slash, if you just hold onto the swords the entire time, like this, you'll be able to go through, and your clones will hit most of them. Really unfortunate there with that last Keaton not dying. So the thing to remember with doing that, this strat is that your clones stabbing their sword will be able to hit Keatons multiple times. But with your main link, as soon as your stab hits a Keaton, you stop holding the sword. So that's the thing to pay attention to, is if there's a Keaton in front of your main link. So ideally you want to be, like, if you see a bunch of Keatons on one side, you want to charge your clones so that you've got the main link away from where the Keatons are going to be. Did I do that? No. So the worst thing that can happen in this room is you get your clones killed, and then you have to charge your clones and bring them and walk them back up here. Right, now this is the Darknut room. Also, I've if you look at the top left corner of the screen, I've got some data values from the game that are displaying right now. So the top one is the Darknut timer. So this fight, there is a 3-minute timer from the end of the cutscene that will count down until you go through the door at the top of this room. So you are on a timer from this point on, but again, it is 3 minutes, so you have absolutely huge amounts of time. Optimally, this fight's 15 seconds, so 15 seconds versus 3 minutes. You've got a lot of leeway to go through this room. So at the beginning of this room, there is a Eslo trigger and then a trigger for the Darknuts to spawn. Now the triggers are ever so slightly displaced from each other, so you're going to hit the Eslo trigger first and then the Darknut trigger. And hitting the Eslo trigger normally stops you dead in your tracks. But in certain animations, Link will not get stopped by the Eslo trigger and keep on going. So one of these, for example, is the boot bonk. So you can bonk off of one of these walls here, and it will hit both of the triggers and start both of them simultaneously. So I'll show it here. So you do a boot dash like that. So we got the exclamation mark from the Eslo trigger starting, and we also triggered the fight start at the same time. And then as soon as the fight starting cutscene ended, it starts doing Eslo's talking animation. And this is slightly faster. So if you get a boot dash into the wall there and you trigger both of these, it's about 1 second faster than just walking up straight through. But if you're doing RNG manipulations, certain RNG manipulations have been designed that you can't do a boot dash in there. And remember, a boot dash will advance RNG by equivalent to 12 rolls or 12 sword slashes, so you can't account for that too much. Right, now for the Darknut fight. So with Darknuts, I'm only going to show one way of fighting them. There's a lot of safe ways of doing it, but for me, and what I believe that is the most optimal way of doing it. And if you want to do the Darknuts the fastest way possible, start learning this early and getting practice into it. So we'll be using the cape. Right at the beginning of the Darknut fight, there's going to be the black Darknut spawn in the middle, and then it's going to have the 2 red Darknuts on the sides. What we're hoping for, we're going to just cross our fingers and pray for, is we're going to run up to the black Darknut and jump over him. We're going to hope that it's going to do a dash attack down. If it does a dash attack down, then we can capitalize on that and quickly follow it down, pin it against the wall, and kill it instantly. We can get the Black Knight out of the fight immediately at the start. It makes killing the red ones way easier, and the fight overall is just going to be so much faster if you can get the Black Knight killed at the beginning. But their actions are determined by RNG, so you're not always going to be getting the right RNG pattern. So you just take whatever you get. So we're going to see if we get this. Yep, there we go. We got it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's down. So there's multiple ways of doing that. You can either do 7 sword slashes like that. That's the easiest and most straightforward way of doing it. You can also do it in 6, but you have to do a different way of doing that, which I'll demonstrate here. You need to hold the sword after you do your first couple slashes. You need to hold the button down so that Link starts doing a stab as well, and then it'll be slash stab slash stab slash slash slash. It'll be something like this. Not like that. Let's try this again. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the Black Darknut killed. Now we've got only these 2 guys left, but I will also demonstrate how we can do this if we don't have a good Black Dark Knight as well. So changing up the RNG a bit. Yeah, we don't get a good guy here. So now we got these 3 guys, and this is the worst case scenario for this fight. Now, the way I recommend fighting Darknuts is we want to do a single cape hop over them so that we can get behind them and do a slash on them. Now, with your cape hop, the aim for your cape hop is so that the peak of your hop, when we did a hop like that, you want the peak of your hop to go right over the top of their head. So like that. And you want to be doing this diagonally. If you try and do this like head on, it will be a little bit trickier to do so. They have to do a sword slash or something like that to make it easy for you to hit them. But with the diagonal hop, it was much, much easier to be able to get these hits in on them consistently. If you don't get close enough, they don't do an action. But yeah, the aim is to get them to do a shield dash, a shield bonk, or literally any kind of action like that. And you can, with enough practice, you get a real feel for how it works. But yeah, the aim is to just do a single cape hop like that in a diagonal fashion, either going like up left or up right. I find the upper ones a little bit better, but you can also do them down left and down right. And yeah, after you do your hop, you can get up to 2 sword slashes into them. And may have noticed a couple times in the fight as well, if they're against a wall, that's the perfect opportunity. When they get pinned against the wall, you just keep them held there and just keep sword slashing them against the wall. That's the real goal of the fight, is to get some of the Darknuts to just be pinned against a wall, and then you can just clean them up and kill them in one go. You don't want to be having to do the cape jumps every single time to do 2 hits at a time and work your way through. A little bit on the amount of health that these guys have as well. So the Black Knight will die in 7 sword slashes. The red ones will die in 5 sword slashes. So I like to count in my head or out loud how many sword slashes I've done on them to just keep in mind how much health they have left. It's hard to keep track of, and that's something that just has to come with experience. Practice this fight. Get used to counting how many hits you get in them, so that you know if one guy is on 1 HP left, you can quickly try and get one single hit in instead of trying to pin him again. Or if one's on like full health, then like walk up to a wall so that it comes up to the wall and it'll be easier to kill. Perfect. He's out the way. That guy was pinned against the that red Darknut very nicely. He's going to dash against the wall. Very nice. Then that's kind of the best fight that you're hoping for there. Also remember that there's going to be hearts in these 4 pots around here that you can use to help fight the Darknuts. Let's completely shuffle this RNG a bunch. Yeah, really nice RNG there, but let's pretend that we didn't get good RNG. Oh, really, really bad hit there. You have to really watch out for the their actions like that. Both going into that fight, I was on low health, which wasn't good. I don't have a backup fairy, which is pretty terrible on the save state. Actually, make sure you have a backup fairy. it's super important in this run. You should always grab one outside of Palace on your way through. Yeah, hit. So when there's a group of 3 of them, this is one of the trickiest parts of the fight. There we go. He's pinned against the wall, but unfortunately he got defended by his buddies. He's nearly low on health now, so a couple more hits. Oh, really bad on health. Nice. Right, and he's down as well. This guy's nearly dead as well. They're all pretty much on 1 HP, so that's not great. Ideally, you do want to try and focus down one Darknut, because the less Darknuts there are, the easier the fight's going to be. There, I was hitting them all really evenly, so all 3 of them were basically alive up until the very end, when I just had to do 1 hit on each of them to kill them. That's ideally not the best way of fighting them. Just focus on one guy, kill him, move on to the next one. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about that. You just need to put a lot of practice into this fight. Get used to doing those cape hops and getting 2 slashes in at a time. You can get this fight down really consistently. The inconsistent part is if they like the RNG of getting them hidden against a wall. You have to just rely on luck at that point. Relying on luck, like them deciding to do a dash and up to a wall, and then you just follow them up and then just pin them against the wall and kill them. But yeah, okay. That's that fight. Now moving on to Vaati 1. Just advance through this text box. So Vaati 1 has 3 stages to the fight. The first stage is he's only got 2 eyes circling around him. The second stage is he's got 4 eyes circling around him. And then the third stage is he's got 4 eyes circling around him, and those eyes are encased in the purple energy. And the first stage we can do in 1 cycle, but the second and third stages can't be done in 1 cycle each. They take 2 cycles each to do. So with 1 cycle in the first stage, 2 in the second stage, and 2 in the third stage, that's 5 cycles in total. So optimally, you can do the fight in 5 cycles. If you make any mistakes, then it's going to push it up to be more cycles, 6 or 7. So the first cycle is really easy to deal with. You can pretty much just stand still and just mash your sword button. And very likely, they will just fly directly into you. And then you go up to Vaati, and in this stage of Vaati, to progress the fight, you need to hit him at least 6 times. And I just sword mash there if I'm not doing an RNG manip. It's completely different if you're doing an RNG manipulation, because you have to count every single one of your sword slashes, so the approach is a little bit different. But when it's non-manip like this, and where it's all going to be random, and I don't need to pay attention to how much the RNG is getting affected. Just doing a consistent sword mash there is nice. I do butterfly mashing, which is I use my my index and middle finger to press the two buttons at the same like alternating like that. That's a consistent way of mashing. I play on keyboard most of the time, and I have I use the enter key for my A button, so I can do a butterfly mash where I'm tapping it with my finger, with both of my fingers. So that's why I'm getting the relatively fast mashing in there. You don't need to mash super fast, but that's just my mashing technique that I've got, and it's really energy efficient. Like, I can do it for a very long period of time and not get tired by it. You want to try and develop your own mashing techniques that you can do for long periods of time without getting tired out, because that's one of the worst things, is just getting super tired and not being able to focus because you're just too tired. Right, so, yep, we've progressed past the first cycle. The way you can tell that it's progressed past the first cycle is because 4 eyes pop up. If only 2 eyes popped up, you didn't hit him 6 times, and you have to repeat the first cycle again. Right, so this is second cycle, or second stage. So to beat the second stage, we need to damage him, we need to sword slash him 10 times. And you can get up to 6 sword slashes in per cycle, which means that you can, like, if you're hitting him as much as possible, you'll hit him 6 times in this cycle, and then in the next cycle you'll hit him 4 times, and then he'll just close his eye instantly. So in this stage, it doesn't matter too badly if you miss a couple of hits. So, oh yeah, and he's going to start teleporting all over the place. Yep, thank you. Yeah, ideally just getting as many hits as possible. And during this downtime as well, when he's doing his little shake after he's closed his eye, and he's shaking a little bit before he produces more eyes. You have a little bit of downtime there. I should have probably gone down to the bottom right corner. The bottom right corner's got a fairy in it, which is different to the Darknut fight. So really pay attention to that fairy. You wanna try and time some point in the fight that you're gonna run down and grab that fairy. Ideally, a little bit later on when you'll have less health, and you'll possibly, like, as long as like you're gonna maximize that fairy use. If I didn't get that health, I was gonna be 4 health away from full, so I could have got that fairy, and it would put me back up to full health. But yeah, remember, in the second cycle, there's going to be no purple energies, so you've got some free time in the section to do it, in the second and third cycle. Oh, okay. Getting hit a lot here. Grab this fairy. Now, we definitely hit him enough times to progress him on, so he's now in the final stage of the fight, where he's going to be producing the energy orbs. Now, the best way to deal with that is to be holding the gust jar over his main body as he spawns them in, and we just suck them up instantly, and they're not actually going to be on his eyes, and it's going to make the fight a lot easier. I really don't recommend going to get the any additional health or fairies whilst he's in that shaking animation in between cycles for the final stage of the fight, when we have to get ready to do the to suck up the purple energy. Because if you don't suck up the purple energy, it loses so much time. It takes so long to individually suck up the energy off of all of the eyes individually, instead of just on his main body. So yeah, we want to pause, equip the gust jar, and then do that. Oh no! Okay, we didn't suck up any energy there, which means that we missed the cycle here. Or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Okay. Okay, so now we're in the final stage. This is just a demonstration here of how awkward this is to get rid of the purple energy off of the eyes. Yeah, and then we use the gust jar on his main body. Makes this easier. I did get the cycle. Okay, I'm very confused. I didn't see any purple energy getting sucked up, but we obviously did. Right, back here. This is the beginning of this cycle. Yep, this is the beginning of this stage. So we've done cycle 1, 2, and 3, and now it's at the beginning of the final stage of the fight. To kill him, we need to hit him 12 times. So yeah, we use the Gust Jar to suck up the purple energy, kill all of the eyes. He's going to teleport because he's like that. If he's teleporting a lot like this, I recommend just taking this time out to go and grab the fairy. And we just sword slash it a bunch of times. You want to try and hit it 6 times again, because in order to kill him in these final 2 cycles, you have to hit him 6 times per cycle to get that 12 damage total. So you can't be bad with your sword hits at all. Otherwise, it's going to be really easy to get additional cycles at the end. And you can really tell because like he won't die, and then you'll get an extra cycle when you do 1 sword slash, and then he'll die. And then you know that you were missing 1 sword slash earlier. Teleporting. Oh, no, no. Yeah, okay, bad on those hits there. Still on fire, so we didn't get a chance to get rid of the purple energy. It's quite a horrible cycle here. Yeah, really awful having to get rid of these one at a time. Yeah, and he's dead. And then at the end of this fight, you want to equip the boots and bow, and we'll start heading over into Vaati 3. I think that is it for Vaati 1. Vaati 1 is there's a lot of RNG involved in whether it's going to shoot fireballs. Oh yeah, that's another thing with Vaati 1. Let me just show the fireballs briefly. So with the fireballs, if you get... Okay, I want him to actually hit me with fire. When you get set on fire, the fastest way to put out fire is to change directions. The timer for how long you've been set on fire reduces each time you do a direction input. So you just want to mash direction inputs to try and get the fire put out as quickly as possible. And at the end of the fight, we equip boots and the bow. You can do something fun like dashing into the wall or something at the end of the fight. But yeah, okay, yeah, and that's pretty much Vaati 1 done. So now moving on to Vaati 2. Vaati 2 is probably going to be the hardest section of the entire part of the boss fights, and it's pretty much entirely because he's so random. It's so very difficult to be able to predict how Vaati's going to move. And it does actually have a very, very awkward knack of always knowing the best way to mess with you. If he's got eyes on a specific side, he'll always go to like that side of the arena and like shield his eyes against the edge of the arena. So it'll be really awkward for you to try and hit your clones against like his eyes. Or as you're just charging up to try and get your clones ready, he'll just fire projectiles at you, or throw fire projectiles exactly on the clone pads that you want to use. He's just got a horrible knack for this. So you just have to recognize that Vaati 2 RNG is going to be awful. Just slog with it and hope that it goes better than expected, and just have your expectations low going into Vaati 2. Vaati 2 has Vaati 2's got 3 phases to it. In the first phase, the eye patterns are always going to be at the bottom. If you do the first stage and then immediately afterwards you get another eye pattern directly at the bottom. That's an immediate indicator to you that you didn't hit him enough times and he's repeating the first cycle again. But otherwise, he always obeys the rule that as soon as you've done a cycle, he'll never repeat the same eye pattern twice in a row. He's similar to Mazao in the respect where the Mazao pillars are never the same twice in a row. So yeah, after we've hit all of the eyes and revealed them, we want to create our clones. So there are multiple ways of making clones, and it's really good to get this under your belt, is that you don't always have to use the intended clone pattern. And I'll show off that the intended clone pattern here. The intended clone pattern is like this, where you make like a little crescent moon shape with your clones. This has a lot of drawbacks to it. One, that you're presenting a big face of contact to Vaati, so that if he fires projectiles just in your general direction, it's incredibly difficult to dodge because you've got a big long line that you have to move all of out of the way to be able to dodge any projectiles, and it's just really likely that the projectiles are going to hit one of your clones and you'll lose them. So this isn't the best way of making your clones, but sometimes he'll fire the purple spikes, or he'll stand in a specific way that this is just your only option, and you're going to have to do it sometimes. Other clone patterns that you can make that will also work well against Vaati is, I like to call this the like the box shape, or the two vertical lines. So you make your clones like this. This is I'm going to show all of these with this layout of eyes where they're all against the bottom, but you can always rotate this pattern 90 degrees depending on which orientation of the eyes that you're getting it on Vaati 2. But yeah, so the benefit of making a pattern like this is that you got a big hole in the middle that you can use for dodging. If he fires projectiles at you, you can instead of having to move entirely out of the way, you just adjust a little bit so that the projectiles fire through and fly through the middle of your gap of clones that you've made, and you don't lose your clones as often. So it's if you have the option, I really recommend making your clones like this just in case. So you what position should you have your main link is something that you're going to be thinking about when you're making your clones. So I like to make sure that the two links that are hitting, that are closest to Vaati and going to be hitting him with their swords, are both clones. You don't want to be mix and matching main link with a clone. You want to have two clones. Just because all of Link's calculations for things are done a frame earlier than all the calculations for his clones, so there's a desync in the timing for it, and it makes the fight it makes it so that you get your slashes in on the eyes and it just doesn't register a hit because the game is literally calculating that you didn't hit them all at the same time. But if all of the clones are hitting them all at the same time, then you don't have that worry. So I recommend it so that you have all of your clones that are the only ones that are hitting Vaati with their swords. So like this. Now in the first stage, you can Vaati's got enough health, so it's got a low enough amount of health so that you can just sword mash. You don't need your clones at all. You could have your clones can get killed in the middle of doing the sword slash so that he's vulnerable. You can do it just with a single link on his own. Just do several sword slashes like that, and it's pretty easy to get past this amount of health. So yeah, I've also got up on the top left, you can see I've got a Vaati 2 health indicator. That's going to be useful a little bit later when I show off one of the tricks to this fight. So this is the second stage. After you've done enough damage to progress him after the first stage, he's going to move on to the second stage. You can tell this is this stage because he'll be moving around slowly. He'll move a little bit and then like do a little bit of a wobble before doing a movement again, or deciding to do some kind of action. Should probably talk about all of the different actions that Vaati can do. So he will decide to either move around the arena or stop and do an attack. He has 3 different attacks that he can do. He can either spew purple spikes everywhere all over the arena. That's awful. You hate it. It just provides extra obstacles. The purple spikes are very likely to be heading in your direction, and if you've got clones up, you're going to have to try and dodge them. If they hit your clones, they kill your clones really bad. Really awful. You want to minimize as many... You can't choose any of this because it's RNG, but you ideally don't want to get as many purple spike patterns as possible. And the more you get early on, the later on in the fight, there's going to be so many purple spike obstacles in the way that are going to be blocking you and just make it harder towards the end. So ideally, you want to have some of the other ones. And so the 2 other ones are a light electric ball attack. That is probably the best you can get. Basically, he shoots 3 light blue electric balls off in random directions in the arena. And that's great because they're not always going to be aimed directly at you. Maybe one will head in your rough direction, but most of the time they'll go off somewhere else, and you don't have to put too much conscious effort into dodging them. And then the last attack that he can do is a purple electric attack, which will be aimed directly at Link. So bear that in mind, that when he's doing his electric attack, one of them does it randomly, the other one aims directly at you. So you want to stand directly out of the way of it to get all of the shots to aim off somewhere else, and then you can move back to whatever you're doing. So like if you're making clones, bear in mind, like if you were making you're touching the clone pads as he was shooting at you, if you create your clones, you've then got some electric orbs flying your way, and if they hit your clones, they're going to kill you and kill your clones. So yeah, we're going to get purple spikes here. I'm just trying to make him show off all of these things. So here's the purple spikes. We want this as few as possible. Here's an electric attack. That's the purple. I call it purple. It's like a darkish blue. It's basically a darker color. Those were aimed directly at me, and you just recognize that and keep moving, and he will. Those will go to where your previous position was. I want to get him to show the next one. Oh, sorry, there's a 4th one. So much of this is just subconsciously learned that it's hard to put out in words sometimes and like overtly remember. But yeah, he's got a 4th action that he can do, is he can drop rocks down on the ceiling. That's also a pretty nice one. It's better than the purple spikes. Probably not as good as the blue electric, because the rocks can fall down anywhere in the arena, and they're very difficult to dodge because the only way of telling where one is a shadow under on the floor, which can be a little bit hard to see in this fight. And you really don't have much time to react when that happens, and you can lose your clones quite regularly by just a rock accidentally falling on your head as you're moving around with them. Not much you can do about that. But yeah, so they're the 4 different actions that Vaati 2 can do. Come on, do something. Right, there's purple spikes. You can tell it's a purple spikes because he hops up in the air and then lands. So yeah, if he does the hop up in the air and land, that's going to be either purple spikes or rocks falling down. When he's got charging up his electricity like that, it's either going to be the aimed projectile electric attacks, or it's going to be the random electric attack. Come on. Come on, show off the light blue one. Come on. Vaati 2 never cooperates. Here we go. Ah, okay, so there's another visual cue to show the difference. If it's just the a thin electric thing at the top of his head, that's gonna be the aimed electric one. That's I never noticed that before. But if he's got electricity all around him, it's going to be the random one. So this is the light blue electric attack, which is going to be shooting in random directions. That was mostly coincidence that they all fired off in my direction. They are random. This is the aimed one. And yeah, you'll be able to tell that difference. So yeah, just paying attention to Vaati 2 and how he moves, you'll be able to see. Yeah, okay, there we go. That shows that the light blue electric was actually random, but it was just unlucky that he fired them all in our direction just there. Yeah, so the best thing to do with this fight in practice is really get into the rhythm of how he moves. Like he'll do a couple of wiggles a bit and then move and then a couple more wiggles. He likes to go in the same direction all the time. So he's moving in a anti-clockwise direction right now, or counterclockwise. So he's going to move around arena heading up here. He also randomly decides to change the direction that he's going to be moving. So yeah, he's moving in an anti-clockwise direction right now. He's going to move to the left again. Or he'll decide to change direction. Now he's going to be going clockwise now and be heading clockwise around the room. I really don't recommend slashing the purple spikes to try and get health. Honestly, it's so rare that you're going to grab health from these things. Okay, there was one. That was I wasn't expecting to get any health packs from these guys, but yeah. If you need extra arrows, that's another thing you'll need to do is be sword slashing these to get arrows. If you're ever low on arrows, you can do that. But if you're going into this fight with mid 20 arrows, you're gonna be fine. You don't need to grab any additional arrow drops. It shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah. So, we know that it's not going to be directly at the bottom because the first cycle was all at the bottom and we did enough damage to progress the fight on to the next cycle. So, I like to fight to narrow down where the next set of eyes are going to be. I fire 2 arrows at the front, on the front left and then the front right. Because as soon as there's a eye indicator, so like here, we just hit a real eye there, we know guaranteed it's going to be all on the right-hand side. As all of the right-hand side is where going to be the eyes, because it can't be the bottom again, and it can't be the top because it's the wrong pattern of eyes, and it can't be on the left because it's the wrong pattern of eyes. So we're guaranteed to have all, these be the eyes. So he's being mean here. He's got his eyes on the right-hand side and he's moved over to the right-hand side of the arena. But now he's moving over to the left because he's moving in a clockwise direction now. Want to stay out of the way of him, make our clones like this. Really scuff that up. So we didn't progress the fight there. We don't... in the second stage, we don't want to sword mash like that. We want to do a single spin attack. His health right now isn't low enough to have progressed the fight. So he's still stuck in this stage, and we can tell that he's still stuck in the second stage because when he moves slowly, and he does like a little wheel about before carrying on. Okay, so the last pattern, the eyes were on the right-hand side. We did the bottom left, so we don't know if it's going to be the full left-hand side or if it's going to be at the bottom. So you just got to pick a side and choose. And it's going to be on the left-hand side this cycle. Alright, so now let's create our clones. We'll do the proper way of doing this cycle now, which is... stay out of my way. Really unfortunate there with that last purple spike. Thought these balls stopped. There we go. Avoid the rocks. Sword slash to make the eye vulnerable, and then we do a spin attack. Now, there's a weird quirk with this fight, with how your clones work when doing, or the damage dealt by your clones when doing a spin attack. For some reason, when you do a spin attack with your and your clone's sword does a spin attack making contact with Vaati, it will just lowers his health by a huge amount, way more than what is supposed to be for the amount of damage you do in a spin attack. It actually lowers it way below the threshold. I don't know exactly how much it does, but it does way too much. Way more than the amount of health that he's supposed to have. But yeah, if the game just detects that if Vaati's health is below the threshold that it's supposed to be for that cycle, it will just immediately raise it up to be at that threshold again. And then or yeah, that's the thing with this. For some reason, the spin attack always lowers the health to 192. But that's how this spin attack with the clone works. It for some reason it sets Vaati 2's health to exactly 192, and that happens to be low enough so that at the end of the second cycle, there's going to be more than enough health and damage to him, and he's going to progress on to the third stage. But it also means that it's literally on the threshold of how much damage you need to do to progress him past the final stage. You actually need to be on he needs to be on 190 or less. We can't reach that if we're doing a with a spin attack, and in fact, if we keep on doing more spin attacks, we don't do any additional damage to him. It will only ever just reset it to 192. Trying to hit his last eye here. Remember as well, we've got boots equipped with our bow because we're doing boot cancels. It's the fastest way of or the easiest way of fighting him. It gives you the most amount of free time. As soon as you fire the arrow, you don't want to press the boots too early like there, but as soon as the arrow's left the bow, you want to tap the boots to cancel the put away animation. Otherwise you get a really slow animation like that where you can't move. But yeah, too early and you cancel the entire firing of the arrow in the first place, so you don't want that to happen. So we know this is the third cycle because look at how he's moving. He's moving around the area rapidly. Now to get the quick kill on Vaati 2 and finish the fight on this cycle. Oh, we got super lucky there. He managed to actually park himself right where the spin attack from creating our clones dealt enough to like hit all of the eyes. But yeah, with the pattern of eyes clones we made, it would have been pretty easy to do a hit to him anyway. So now we're going to do a spin attack to him to lower his health exactly down to 192. We're going to do, after we've hit his hit him with that spin attack, we're going to want to do an immediate sword slash to then push him past that threshold and count him as killed. So we're going to do the spin attack here. And we didn't actually charge the spin attack fast enough there. We were too slow, and he recovered before we got a chance to do the sword slash. If we try like so for example, we've messed this fight up. We have to repeat this final cycle again. His health's still at 192, so we don't need to do another spin attack, and in fact, if we try and do another spin attack with the clones, it's not going to kill him. It's going to re-lower his health again exactly to 192, which isn't below his threshold, and he's just not going to die. So I can demonstrate that here. And get this sword slash in. So there, actually, it was the main link there. We were close enough with the main link so that the that spin attack was enough to lower his health down to 190 and end the fight. But if we were a little bit further away and it was just the clones, they would spin and leave it at 192 again because of the weird way how the clone spin attack works. But yeah, so you want to do a spin attack and then a single sword slash to kill. Now, there is another strat to this as well. We call it the clone cancel. If you cancel your clones in the middle of the spin attack, depending on Link's orientation, you will end the fight immediately with that spin attack. because it will be it counts that both a spin attack from one of the clones has hit Vaati, and because we cancel the clones, the next hit will be from Link's regular spin attack hitting, which would be enough damage to lower it down past the threshold and end the fight. I'll demonstrate that here. So it looks like this. Well, okay, unfortunately we got our clones killed. Yeah, see, just as a demonstration there of doing a spin attack on him, the spin attack lowered, and spin attack and some sword smashing lowered his health down from 255 down to 231, whereas normally with the spin attack with the clones, it lowers it down to 192, so like it's so much more damage than a regular spin attack. Let's just show this off properly. Dude, can I actually do this? I did the wrong... There we go. I did that incorrectly. So the trick to doing the clone cancel to insta-kill the fight is that you need Vaati on Link's left-hand side. So, for example, when we've got the main Link at the bottom, the main Link's going to be on the bottom of Vaati. We want him to be facing to the right, so that on Link's left-hand side, Vaati's main body is going to be there. Come on. I just want to show this. Yeah, like this, so like that. And we cancelled our clones in the middle of the spin attack, and it ended the fight immediately like that. But remember, it will only work if you are facing in the right orientation with your main Link, which is with Vaati on Link's left-hand side. If you try and do the clone cancel in other orientations, it can mean that the clone spin attack doesn't register on Vaati, and you don't get the big damage knockdown to being almost dead, and you basically just throw away a cycle. So only do that if you're absolutely confident that you've got Link in the right orientation, and then yeah, you can cancel in the middle. The timing for killing your clones is really lenient. It's basically any time in the middle of the spin attack. I can try and do another demonstration of this. Just not going for the cycle there. I just want his eyes to move to a different position. Alright, he's going to be on the bottom this time. Cool. Right, so I'm ending up having Link on the right-hand side. This isn't a great position for him to be, so he wants to be like that. And there we go. See, we had Vaati on Link's left-hand side like that, and then we just do the spin cancel, and it will kill the fight like that. Again, a lot of this is muscle memory kind of stuff that you'll want to practice a lot. What does the fight look at the beginning? I'm just doing a demonstration of what my minute looks like. But if you get lucky at the beginning of the fight, Vaati can position him like this, himself like that, where your first attack, like he'll position himself directly on the clone pads, so that you can create your clones like that, and just the spin attack of creating the clones will not only hit the eyes, but also do enough damage to progress him past that cycle, and yeah, make it way easier. That was an incorrect hit. Yeah, okay. Eyes on the wrong side. Eyes on this side here. Oh, a projectile flying off in our face. Right, we're going to create our clones here. Is he going to do some attack? There's random... That was the random direction electric attack. Right, he's going to be on the right-hand side. Oh. Dodge these purple spikes. Oh, that's a really bad clone pattern here. Dude. I don't want to cancel my clone thing here. So this is one of your last ditch things, like when you have the worst RNG pattern there with the purple spikes just going all over the place and making it really, really awkward to create your clones like that. You can create a what I call like the single spear strategy for creating your clones, where you create like 2 clone links in a line like that that's somewhere away from your main link. And the aim for this is you're going to jam those 2 clones that are together in a line directly in the middle of Vaati and then mash sword, and it will hopefully hit all of the eyes. So we're going to go for something like that. There we go. That's what we wanted. Oh, that was going to be the end of the fight. I should have done the sword slash there. Wasn't paying attention. But yes, that is... that's pretty much Vaati 2. I guess there's one other RNG pattern you clone pattern that you can go for here, which is like a 2-pronged clone pattern like this. But yeah, really you can just mix and match a lot of different clone patterns. Just don't get fixated on doing that crescent moon shaped pattern on Vaati 2, and you could just be flexible in this fight. That's kind of the best advice to give. I didn't actually reveal all of the things, but I just wanted to demonstrate that clone pattern. That's also a decent clone pattern that will work. Right. Let's just end the fight quickly and then move on to the final boss. Perfect. Advance past his text boxes. We get a white screen and then move on to the next area. I normally end this fight with the boots equipped. So I'll just do a boot dash straight up here. Some other people may have like the bow equipped. You want to line yourself up roughly like that. You want the tip of the spear to be in line with the black line at the bottom of the pillar. And then that's roughly lines link up with being in the middle. Just advance past all of these text boxes. Roll left, do a dash up here. Up the stairs. You can mix and match a bit here. Like, I don't know what exactly is the optimal movement here. So you want to do like 2 rolls, a dash left, and then like roll up here, and then like another roll up here before rolling, dashing right. Another way of doing this, which is also fine, is like from here you do 2 left, like 1 up, get past that, and then dash up here, and then you can dash right. Now here's where you have to judge how much health you have. I have less than 4 hearts and no fairy in a bottle. So in a run, I'd definitely be going down and getting a fairy. I'm not going to do it because I'm just demonstrating something here. Yeah, in this room you also want to dash up. It's better than rolling up here. But yeah, Vaati 3. So a lot of this fight is RNG based. At the beginning, the first thing that is RNG based is how long and which arm is he going to use. Or how long is it going to take for him to use an arm, and which arm is it going to be? Now, you want it to be the inside arm that he uses, depending on which side of the arena. It's personal preference. There's no specific side. I just happen to have a preference for the right hand side to move him over to there, but it's 50-50 which arm he decides to use, so there is no preference for which side you should be going for. It's just choose whatever you want. Now, if we stay at the front of the arena, Vaati's gonna like come down and be like in our face and block us, and it's gonna be really awkward. So the best thing to do at the beginning of the fight is to run off to one of the sides of the arena, and then go to the back of the arena. We go to the side so that he's not going to be able to block us because we've gone far enough to the sides, and then we want to go behind him and then head around to where the portal is, like this. So we go like here and do like a boot dash or something like that and jump up onto the portal. The portal's a really nice safe spot for us. We're not going to take any damage whilst we're sat on this portal. And also, by going off to the sides of the arena before heading over onto the portal, Vaati's actually locked himself over onto this side of the arena. He's not going to be able to go over to the left-hand side unless we move down, which will bring him further down. But because we're staying at the top of the arena, he's going to stay stuck at the top of the arena. Can't go left because the portal's in the way, so he's just stuck there in the top right. He's going to be much easier to handle. He swung with his offhand, which isn't good. You don't want him to be doing actions with the offhand at all, because when we randomly decide to do his shove a hand down into the ground, he won't be choosing that one, and well, actually, no, sorry. It's the opposite of what I said. That's good, because then it means that he's going to be forced to be using his inside arm, which is the arm that you want to be him to be using first. So we sit here and wait. He's using the inside arm. That's the good RNG. If he shoves his outside arm into the ground, then he's got his inside arm just like wiggling about and hitting us and getting in the way. So that's why we want him to use the inside arm ideally. Whilst we're up here, we're going to equip the cane. Some people like to also equip the boomerang at this point as well. So you can equip both, jump off the portal, and then do a cane shot on that. Now, you really want to get a feel for the timing of this. You see the purple of the things, of the arm start to appear before it actually comes out of the ground. You want to practice this and time your cane shot so it hits smack bang exactly when it like is vulnerable and starts to move. So it's got an animation of like spurting out of the ground before it then starts moving. The moment it starts moving is when it's vulnerable to the cane shot, and you want to time it as sharply as possible so that you're keeping the arm as close to the portal as possible. That's the best way to do this fight, is to have the whatever arm is vulnerable right next to the portal, so then you have the shortest trick possible when creating your when you turn Minish and go inside of it. That's also one of the other reasons why we stood on the portal, is that the default position for where Vaati is going to spawn one of the eyes if you're sat on the portal is going to be directly below us, and that gives us the perfect opportunity now, so that when we create our clone, when we shrink, it's going to plonk Link basically smack bang in front of the entranceway, and we can just press it up and go immediately into the arm, and there's zero downtime. And bam, we're straight in there. I was a little bit early on the up press there. You don't want to be holding up as you're shrinking, but like as soon as you've shrunk and regained control of Link, then you want to tap up and it will push you up into the arm. And now we're inside the arm. So why I said that some people decide to equip the boomerang is they'll throw the boomerang at the beginning and try and hit the main eye. So using the boomerang will stun the eye and make it easy to hit. If you have trouble seeing which... sorry, let me equip this and then pause here. So just having a look at all of these eyes, you can see that one of the enemies in this room has an eye that is going to be looking at Link the whole time. So that's going to be the real eye that we want to deal damage to. All of the other ones we don't need to pay attention to. To kill him, we need to hit him 8 times. So I like to count out loud or in my head 8 individual hits on this guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that means that you're not doing extra slashes as you're trying to um, um, like as it's dying, you're not there slashing additionally. You're just spending like you're reducing as much wasted time as possible by just getting out of the arm as quickly as possible. Um, Ideally, the best way of fighting it is getting it pinned in a corner somewhere, and then you can literally just mash your sword and keep it pinned against a wall somewhere. But the boomerang does a good job of keeping it held in place so that you can get those hits in consistently and then move on fast. Right, now we're going to jump out of the arm, grow as quickly as possible, and then stand back on the portal. And then we just sit here and wait. And this is another RNG point where we just need to wait for him to do his arm shot. That was pretty quick. That was not the fastest, but it was much faster than it can be. Sometimes it's incredibly slow. Not much you can do about that either. Another thing I could have mentioned here is you can do portal items with the cane to do a cane shot to hit the arm as it spawns out of the ground. I'm going to try and do that here. The risk of this is that if you're not super practiced and if you're also a bit nervous, the timing's pretty precise. So if you mess it up, you'll lose a little bit of time. So it's just a little bit of a ballsy risk thing to save a second, but also lose a second. Now, what's super important is that this is the last arm. We want to make sure that the arm doesn't get away. This is super important because after this, we're going immediately into the volleys. We're going to go immediately into the tennis stage, and we have a very short period of time to get our clones ready. So how badly the arm moves away from the portal here is going to be time that we'll spend lost at the beginning of the tennis stage. So it's really important to get this last cane shot on this arm consistent. That was good enough. We go inside here, and this is the dark arm. So we have to equip the lantern. I really don't recommend doing this in the dark. It's so random. It's very unlikely that you're going to find the guy. In other categories, we'll have like great spin, and you can have a higher chance of being able to do it. But like in any percent in glitchless, you don't have to do. You won't be able to use a great spin. And also in glitchless, we don't have the boomerang, so you have to get used to fighting these guys without. But anyway, and also in glitchless as well, you can't do portal items. Don't do it. It's a banned glitch. Just reminding everyone of that. Right, creating our clones. Super good at RNG. The guy just immediately came into our face. So we're going to try and go around him and push him down into the doorway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bam, and he's dead immediately. Super solid fight there. That's the best you can get, is when it comes directly into your face. You can stun him and then basically do that. Super fast arm. Right, this is the beginning of the final stage of Vaati 3. This first cycle here determines how the rest of the fight's going to go. You can, if you are fast enough and get good enough luck, you'll be able to just do a scripted rest of the fight, and you'll be done in 40 seconds, and just keep your nerves under control, and it's not too tricky. But if you mess up and lose your clones, or like get hit by electricity or something like that, this fight can immediately snowball out of control and be really hard to recover. So as soon as we get off the portal, we want to create our clones as quickly as possible. Going to stand in front of Vaati. So I've just got an eye for this. And you will eventually, after doing this fight enough times, you'll just get an eye for where to stand. I don't know exactly how precise the like the pixel window is. I want to say it's like 5 pixels left and right. You've got a horizontal window of about 5 pixels that you can stand to be able to volley the blue orbs directly back at Vaati 3. But yeah, the trick to always getting the blue orbs to fly at you is to make sure that you're horizontally stood directly in front of Vaati. It doesn't matter too much vertically. Ideally, you want to be staying at the bottom end of the arena. But yeah, standing directly in front of him will always induce him to do a blue orb attack, as long as it's the beginning of the fight or it's right after he's taken damage. If he's already done a blue orb thing and you're standing directly in front of him, he's not going to do another blue orb straight away. He will then start doing electric attacks. But yeah, anyway, we do... after you hit the blue orbs back up to him, we then go up and hit him. Now, this stage is split up into 3 cycles, and in order to progress the fight through each cycles, you need to do a minimum of 2 sword slashes to hit him. That's all you need to do. So there I mashed a few more times. You can kill your clones and then roll up and just do 2 sword slashes, 2 or 3 sword slashes. A slash and a stab won't be enough. You'll need to make sure that you'll do an extra hit on top of that. But yeah, the damage value is actually like super low. If you want to be swag, you can get your bombs out here and throw a bomb at him. The bomb impact counts as 1 sword slash, so it needs to be a double hit where you threw the bomb through Vaati and it fell off the back, and you'll hear 2 hit indicators on him. But the explosion from the bomb was just more than enough to do enough damage, so you can actually just like pick up and throw a bomb. That doesn't hit him as you throw it, but then when the explosion hits him, it will do enough damage. But yeah, that was enough damage, so then we move on. And in that, we don't want to be standing in front of him, like sword slashing him a million times. Just get a couple of hits in, that's all we need to do. And then use your free time here to get your clones up. Ideally, you want to be making your clones in this pattern like this. Because if Vaati decides to move on to either side of the arena, we can, instead of having Link not being able to reach because he's hanging slightly off the arena and we would fall off the edge and lose our clones if we tried to follow him, we can hang our clones off of the edge. So make sure you have Link in one of the middle 2 clone positions to avoid that. The only time I would say you wouldn't want to do this is if you're really strapped for time, where he's getting the blue orbs to fire nearly immediately and you just need to get your clones up straight away. So just do a quick straight line through to get your clones up, and then try and do a quick slash to get that attempt in. All right, we go and stand directly in front of him. He's going to do a blue orb. Do 2 sword slashes. Now here I'm going to purposefully mess this up just to demonstrate how to recover this if it goes south. Right, so there we just missed. He's going to shoot electricity. We want to kill our clones. He's going to shoot another blue orb. We're just going to have to miss that. Now we're going to get some of our clone pads ready here. We're going to wait for this electric attack to go by. It hit us, unfortunately. That was a really bad angle that he decided to stand at. But yeah, this fight's gone super far south if we're missing 2 like that. Okay, dodge all of those, and then we get our clones ready and then do that. Yeah, so that's really the best way of breaking out of the, like, we were getting into a really bad pattern there where he was doing electric attacks right as we were getting our clones ready. So you just need to ease off the gas a little bit. Just wait a second. Just be a little bit more cautious. Don't get your clones up immediately if he's shooting electricity right at you. Wait for the electricity to pass. Get your clones up and then move into position, because then if he's done an electric attack and you are stood in front of him, he'll then do a blue orb. It'll be easy to kill. So let's just do this a couple more times just to demonstrate this a bit more. Yeah, ideally when he's recovering, the best thing you want to do is get your clones up immediately, because then he'll just do a blue orb thing. We messed it up. He's going to do an electric attack no matter where we're stood. Get our clone things ready. There we go, we dodged, and bam, we can get going. So how do I line this up to get good get good things in? I stand pretty far down, wait for to be in the air, and then you've got lots of time for to react to the blue orbs heading towards Link. I really don't recommend getting up close. Sure, you can save like a fraction of a second by being super close here, but if you're too close, that's going to happen, where the orbs just didn't have enough they have a minimum distance that they have to travel before it will register hitting the eyes. If you stand too close, that's going to happen and it's going to screw up your fight. So just ease off, just pull back a bit, stand basically in line with the rest of the, like, these pads here, slightly above is fine. Like in line with like these things here is a little bit too high, I would say. And know a way of that initially people learn how to. Okay, really bad. Okay. There, when we made our clones there, after he did an electric attack, we were expecting a blue orb. It didn't give us blue orbs. We got bad RNG, or we didn't stand directly in front of him fast enough. Started shooting electricity for a second time in a row. What we did there is immediately run away to the side and present the thinnest profile possible. Because if we're standing directly off to the side here, and Vaati shoots electricity, if it goes above or below us, we've got an easy chance of dodging it. But if we're standing directly below him and he's firing them down directly towards us, you have to move so much to be able to dodge it. It's too fast. You're going to lose your clones by doing so. So the best way is to move to the opposite side of the arena and go up high. Then the electricity orbs are going to go directly past. Oh, no, bad. And we're dead. Can I quickly get back up to that point? I've got more stuff I wanted to show. Oh, this is the beginning of the fight. Yeah, so let's just do another run through of Vaati 3 just to show off everything again. Good RNG on this guy. Unfortunately, a little bit too fast on that cane shot. I'm going to use the boomerang here. Come on. 1, 2. Yeah, miscounting here just because it's pinned against the wall. I'm going to sword mash. Get our cane ready. I'm going to stand here, wait for the next arm to go in the ground. Just going to go into the ground like that. Tried to do a portal items there, but I just messed up because of lack of practice. I'm going to throw the boomerang. He's over in the bottom right over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close enough to the portal that it didn't matter too much. We're going to create our clones as quickly as possible. Standing directly in front of him. 2 sword slashes. Not wasting any time getting our clones up again. Now this is something else I wanted to show off. So some people find it easier to line up with the eyes by doing like that with a spin, and then we can do a spin attack like that to volley the shots back. That's a little bit more consistent for newer people, I find, but for me, I find just a good old single sword slash is fine. That you absolutely don't want to be sword mashing. If you mash quickly, in being impatient as the orbs fly down towards you, it's very likely that the sword mashing will just causes the orbs to fly in all directions. You just want to time a single slash or the spin attack there where you recoil with a spin attack. But yeah, we lined up by when we were creating when we had our clones up, we stood in front of Vaati, held the sword up, and then lined up the tips of our swords in line with all of the eyes and just moved down. And then you just lined up perfectly there to then release your spin attack. And the further down you stand, the more time you have to react to the blue orbs being fired. Here I'm just going to line up manually and GG. And that is time. Time will be on the second hit of Vaati on this stage. Basically, Vaati's starting to do his death animation here. The frame that you do the second impact, he immediately switches to this animation here. So if you go in slow motion and look at the to be able to retime your thing, to retime your run to make it accurate, it's literally there'll be an impact indicator that the sword makes on Vaati. The the second one of those that you see on Vaati at this point is the is where you can stop the timer. And yeah, Vaati's eye should be red flashing white. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been rambling on now for an hour and 20 minutes. Super long info dump here. Hope everyone enjoys all of this information. Sorry it's so long, but there's just a lot to talk about with this. This is one of the most technical and difficult parts of the speedrun is this section. You're gonna have to practice this a lot. Every category, every speedrun of this game requires doing this boss fight. Except for Hundo. Hundo makes it easy. Yeah, don't be surprised if you end up spending a huge amount of your practice time doing this fight and this fight alone. I really recommend save states before each point so you're not wasting a ton of time practicing stuff you don't otherwise want to practice. You don't have to be doing all of like the Keaton Room and sort of getting the boss key each time that you want to practice Vaati 3. Just set save states before each of these so that you can quickly jump around. And yeah, experience is your best friend with this. Get that experience in by doing it as much as possible. No reset runs are also your friend. Don't reset in the middle of Vaati. Just keep doing it. Keep doing these fights and building up your experience, and you'll be able to predict how Vaati moves and all of the different eventualities. And yep, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.